It's time for our special guest.
Okay, so welcome to the Friday Night Show. We are back for another episode. I'm going to do the introductions. So, he's sort of come out of nowhere recently and taken the world by storm. He was on the 2022 New Year's Honours list and has received an MBE. Was at Tokyo 2020 Paralympics and received his first gold medal in javelin. So my guest is the brilliant Dan Pembroke. How are you?
I'm well, Tom. Yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. We look like we could be twins. We've got short hair, beard.
I seem to be a twin of every other bald man.
But yeah, it's good to see you, mate. Nice to see that you're repping the British colours.
Always.
But yeah, nice to have you. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, I'm well. Just got back from training. Another good session. Ready to smash the new season. So, my second season of my para career. So, hopefully it goes as well as the last one.
Yeah, well, I hope so too, mate. I hope so too. You sort of we'll get into it actually, because there's no better place to start than at the beginning. We sort of spoke just before we started recording, and I just obviously wanted to make sure that I got everything right before we kicked on.
Yeah.
But I know at the beginning of your career you obviously had a couple of little issues, didn't you? And then you sort of took a break and everything. So, but you seem to be doing quite well when you at the beginning, when you first started trying to break through on the scene. And then, obviously you mentioned that you picked up an elbow injury. So what did that feel like? Was that sort of frustrating when that sort of happened?
Well, absolutely. I'd started javelin throwing when I was 11 years of age, and just picked it up, at school, as every athlete probably does, and then just worked my way through the ranks through my team. And I broke 4 British records as I was coming up. So I was like, this is what I'm going to do. This is my career. And I'm quite a short javelin thrower. So I had to, fight my way through to be at the top and to prove everyone wrong.
Yeah.
And everything was going really well. 2011, I'd thrown 75.89, which was just shy off of the qualifying mark. To go to the Olympics the next year. So 2012 season to open up. It's 2012 London Olympics, the pinnacle probably of our history in athletics, as being a British athlete.
Yeah. And
so I was raring to go, and I'd had a brilliant winter season, ready to show what I got. And in my second competition of the year, on the 4th throw, I remember it just like it was yesterday. I came down and opened my hip up too early, and my elbow came out the side, and bang, I snapped my medial collateral ligament, which basically holds your elbow and stops it from, basically popping out on the medial side.
Yeah.
So I didn't realise what I'd done at the time, and I was like, hopefully it'll be all right. And it wasn't all right, and I got an MRI scan, and for me at that point, I kind of thought to myself, those of you who don't know, I'm visually impaired athlete. And at the time I knew I had this condition, and I knew I was losing my eyesight, year by year. And I didn't know how long I had left of my eyesight. And after this big injury, being an athlete takes a lot of dedication, a lot of time. You can't really go off and do other things. You need to be on the ball and keep on doing it. And I thought to myself, I really want to go and travel. Am I going to be able to do this if I spend all this time rehabbing my elbow up to possibly not get to where I was before, or even better? I mean, I needed to be better to be on the world scene.
Yeah.
And so I made a big decision the following year, and I said, look, and my dad was my coach at the time, and I remember going into the living room, and I was like, oh God, really anxious. And I said to him, look, I don't know how much longer I've got left of my eyesight, and I don't think I can do this. If I fail and don't get where I want to be in athletics, I've lost, all that time where I could have spent traveling the world and seeing so many things.
Yeah.
And I just really wanted to do that. And so I said to him, that's it, I'm out. I said goodbye to athletics.
Yeah.
And I went traveling.
That must have been one of the hardest moments in your life by the sounds of things. Like, it sounds like
it chokes me up now when I talk about it.
Yeah, and I'm getting choked up talking about, like, listening to you talk about it. So that's it sounds like it was a very, very difficult time, very hard moment. It's choking me up, mate.
In my life at that point, I was like, the Olympics, I'm going to go to the Olympics. In my next competition, I'm going to qualify and I'm going to go. And then for that to just go, boom, no way, you're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
So, but you were able to do something that you never thought you would have the opportunity to do, I guess, and go and travel and experience some amazing things. So, what was that like to take some time off and just go and do that?
You know what? Like, through all the pressures of being an athlete, regimented all the time, like training twice a day. You have to watch where you eat all the time. I was like, freedom. And I remember this is how I started it. I didn't just decide, right, I'm going to go away straight away. I basically just, I said, all right, I just need a holiday. And so I opened the map of Europe and I closed my eyes and just point my finger down on the map. And it sounds like in a film, right? It's very dramatic. And it landed in the Mediterranean Sea, and the nearest landmass was Sardinia. I said, right, I'm going to go there. And I love my fishing. I love my outdoors and stuff like that. So I just got a ticket and I went out there and, I had a spear gun with me. I had my fishing rod. I had a hammock with me and, just bare essentials really. And went out there and spent like 2 weeks just kayaking in the Mediterranean Sea off of this lovely, pristine nature reserve. I was catching my dinner and then coming into the beaches at night and just keeping in the caves. And oh man, it was just so good to be like out and being adventurous, and on my own, and gave me lots of time to reflect. And actually when I was out there, I read a book called The Secret by Ron De Bruyne. It's quite a famous book, and it was talked about the law of attraction. I started reading this and my life kind of really took a turn then. I started approaching things with lots of positivity. If I wanted to do it, I was going to do it.
Yeah.
And, from then on, my life spiraled, and I kept on going back to Sardinia, coming back, working as a personal trainer, going back out there. And in the end, I said, look, I'm going to go and just go out there and see what happens. And I spent a season out there in Sardinia, working as a personal trainer and massage therapist. And yeah, I loved it. And when I was there, I met my now fiance, and she really wanted to travel as well. We spent then 4 years traveling the world together.
Yeah.
Went to New Zealand, Australia, and just, shared some beautiful experiences and really made the most of what I set out to do. And that was to see the world with my, good eyesight.
Yeah. Two things that I get from that story is, firstly, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Just being able to you think of that moment, and it, like, at the time was probably the most heartbreaking thing to have to make that decision. But in the long run, it sort of paid off for you, because you've met your now fiance, you got to travel the world, and you still came back and you still got that gold medal, and obviously, like we said at the start, got your MBE as well. So you've literally got everything that you could have wanted, and it just, at the time, it didn't feel like that was going to happen. But in the long run, all those sayings, time's a healer, all that sort of stuff, it just sort of cements that, doesn't it, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, you never know what's going to come in the future. It might have ended in disaster, going around traveling. I'm a visually impaired guy, going around, and I'm, like I said, I love my fishing, and my passion drives everything, and I just go and do it. But it's positivity that makes me do these things. And I think if you always attack things with a kind of positive attitude, don't get me wrong, I'm negative sometimes, but in general, if you try and follow that line, it leads you to some really, really good paces.
Yeah.
You know, and you can just be positive one day, the next day is going to be relatively positive as well. So just keep riding that train, you know.
Yeah.
And that's where it's ended for me. And, well, not ended, it's still going. And I came back from traveling, didn't really know what I was going to do. I knew I was going to, you know, do massage therapy, because I'd come back to study sports massage therapy in Hereford. And then somebody said to me, Paula Dunn, she said, you know, why don't you try getting into para sport? And it just snowballed from there. It's a bit of a flurry, really, of how quickly it happened. So I've like started my 2021 season, like European Championships. I got the European record and won that one. I was like, wow, that's amazing, you know, and I loved being in that atmosphere again. And made all the hairs stand up in the back of my neck, what hairs I have left anyway. And then Paralympics. Yeah, astounded. Just an amazing year. I don't know how I can trump that one. I'm a bit worried.
Well, I'm sure you'll be all right, mate. And that's the thing. Like, you know what all athletes say, and obviously Hannah said it on an episode a couple of weeks ago, and that was about, you know, that one's done now, on to the next one. And I know that you'll have that same mindset of, I've done that now. That's the first one out of the way, and I've broken I've broken that. And I've broken through the glass ceiling or whatever. I've got that step that I wanted to get to. I've done it. So your mindset, I imagine, will probably be, let's do it again. Let's try and get the next one. Let's try and keep pushing. And
definitely.
Are you planning to?
I mean, it's one of those things. Like, you know, I do have gratitude for what I've achieved, and I've learned through the years that that's important as well, because you need to accept what's happened and. You know, ride that wave as well. Otherwise, you're constantly just chasing and not living in the moment. So, I think that's a really good thing to reflect. And but I mean, I'm saying that my medal is just sitting there, like on the top of a bookcase and gathering dust at the moment. But you know, it's the actual event, like Hannah was saying. You know, being there, achieving what you've done. You know, the medal is fantastic, but the actual the racing getting there is what makes it, and the gratitude that you feel as soon as you get that medal. It's a token, basically.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? Like, you know, all those months, years of hard work, and all of that time of that struggle, that difficult time that you had obviously gone through, and those decisions that you made to then get to that point where you had that in your hand. You surely had a massive weight lifted off your shoulders at that point, where you were like, oh, finally, like, you know, I've done what I wanted to. Yeah,
you know what? Like, it hit home is when, and I'm sure with many athletes, when the national anthem plays, you know, and it is sort of every athlete wants to feel that, you know, as, you know, being at your first Paralympic game, you know, and then to stand on that podium and just hear your national anthem being played, you go, oh shit, man, I made it. I've done it.
And they're playing that
when you're on that highest tier.
yeah, and they're playing that for me. They're playing that national anthem for me, and that's that must be incredible. I've obviously never experienced that, but you know, that would be, you know, that's surely an incredible moment. You're never going to forget that as well.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, no, I think that's really cool, and the kind of things that you're saying there as well is, you know, no matter what life brings your way, just try and be positive and try and take a positive approach to things. And, you know, I know, you know, it is hard to sometimes remain positive with things, and obviously it's okay to be upset and get down about stuff. Not saying that, but at the same time, you've got to sort of try and power through it and go, right, okay, how do I make the best out of a bad situation?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like I'm saying, like, you know, if something bad happens, go, oh, well, you know, and just,
yeah.
You know, that's not the way to deal with it. You have to kind of like absorb what's happened, and you're going to feel shit and you're going to feel down. And it's good to know when you can kind of stop that wallowing in it, you know, and just go, right, don't really like feeling like this anymore. Let's try and do something that's going to make me feel better, and then work on that positive thing and climb up the spiral, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a brilliant way to go about it.
Yeah, and I think you're definitely right there. There has to come a point where you go, well, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop sitting in this, wallow of pity here now, and I'm going to go, right, what can I do to get myself back on track, make myself feel better, and push forward? It's so difficult sometimes to just get in that rut and sort of, sit somewhere for months at a time, sometimes years at a time, thinking, it's not a great position to be in, but it is, you're the only person that can change that, I guess. So
that's it. I mean, I think, the longer you do it as well, the harder it is to get out. I liken it to a spiral, like a negative spiral going down. You get to the bottom of that real spiral, you've been there for like a year. This is, working for mental health and everything like that. Like, it's harder to come back up, but especially people with, not especially, people, this is what I know, people with visual impairment that are deteriorating. Like for myself, when I go out, I can't see too much, especially in the nighttime. Daytime, I'm pretty good. But you're always adapting, and because mine is a degenerative condition, like if I'd stopped going out like 6 years ago, right, and just kept myself inside, I would never adapt to the situations and to the rate in which my eyesight is deteriorating. So then going out, like now, if I hadn't gone out 6 years ago and gone out today, it would be so overwhelming because you haven't adapted with the continuous deterioration of your eyesight. Yeah. So I think people with degenerative conditions in general, I think it's a really good thing to every day do something that challenges you a little bit and gets you out of that comfort zone. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. It's nice to hear what you're saying as well, because like I've said this to other people that have come on the show. I've said it to JBE. I've said it to Hannah. Like everything that you say, hopefully someone will sort of pick up on this and it might affect or might help someone in a positive way. So it's really nice to hear you say things like this about a situation that you've potentially been in, that you have been in, and then how that can, how you sort of are powering through it and how you're working through it, because then it hopefully helps other people that might be in that same situation.
So. Yeah, I mean, I haven't got all the answers for it, at all, but just things that I've noticed through my life and things that I've taken on board and learned from other people as well. So yeah, if I could, put that on somebody else, and that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, do you want to should we go for a break? Should we go for a song and then we can come back? So I asked you to pick 3 songs. So I think the first one was a song that gets you motivated.
Right, so my song of motivation is Offspring, and it's Hit That.
Cool. Okay, well, we will be back after this.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, Social. We've got great taste. Do you?
Okay, so we are back in. That was our first song. Dan's first song.
What a tune that is.
It is a good song. It is a good song, and I can see why it gets you motivated as well. So, it was a good start. It's a strong start. So yeah, we spoke about the early days. We spoke about the struggles there. But yeah, obviously I wanted to talk to you now about someone else that we had on the podcast last season. He told me that he shared a room with you at Tokyo.
He did.
So what was it like sharing a room with JBE, with Jonathan Bream Edwards, for those that don't know?
I just call him Broom.
Yeah.
Broom is he's the most organised person you'll ever meet. He's so meticulous in everything. I think the second day that I shared a room with him, I was still in bed, right? And I sort of woke up and he was there with a notepad at the table, just writing his day down, what exactly he's going to do, when his rest time is, everything. He's you can tell he's been in the game for a while.
Yeah.
He's very, very organised. He knows exactly what he's doing when he's going to these events, and it was brilliant to see him execute it, and inspired me quite a lot as well. I saw that and I thought, yeah, that's kind of how you should be, Yeah. But I mean, it's what works for everyone. I'm not so meticulous in the way that I do things. I kind of like roll with the punches a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's really cool. And with regards to with regards to yourself, do you have any sort of quirks or anything that you do when you're sort of preparing? It's a hard question, really, because you probably don't even notice it, do you?
Yeah, you just don't. I mean, I'd say I'm a little bit quiet before a competition. Yeah. I'm just sort of very insular, and people mistake that for me being nervous. It's not. It's just, I've got a mission ahead, and I'm going through the run-up, everything in my head, and what I'm doing and taking in the situation itself. So yeah, I'm quite insular. So yeah, I don't know. That's probably the only time that I'm insular.
But that's fine, because you're, like you say, you're keeping yourself motivated, but you're also keeping yourself shut off from everything else around you, and just you, like you say, you've got that, I guess, that tunnel vision of this is my goal, this is what I need to do, and nothing's going to distract me from that. And I could see why people might take that as, oh yeah, he looks nervous, but this doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, does it? You're there to do the job.
So it's funny because of my vision impairment, I don't have any side vision, right? So I don't have any peripheral vision here, and so normally I'm sort of laughing and joking, right? And then when I'm in this situation, I can't see anybody from the side. So, maybe javelin pros are coming up to shake my hand or meet me, or, and they'll put their hand out to shake my hand or something like that. And I totally ignore them. I'm not doing it because I'm rude. I'm doing it because I can't see them. And so
apologies.
Yeah. So every athlete out there that I've blanked ever, I apologize now.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with being rude. Yeah. It's down to that. But that's quite funny. You just imagine people doing that, can't you?
Yeah, imagine getting it caught on camera though. You know what I mean? Like, imagine out on the infield, and here's Dan Pembroke coming out for his second throw. Oh, he's just blanked an athlete there. And another one.
Yeah, it's difficult as well, isn't it? Because other Paralympic Games, there's people from all different backgrounds, people that have got visual impairments, people that have got other disabilities that might mean that they act in a specific way or they do something in a specific way. And I think people need to be aware that it's not because anyone's being rude. Most of the time it's because of specific reasons like you've just mentioned. So people just need to be a bit more relaxed about that sort of stuff, I guess, with
I think that's based on our own insecurities. Somebody sort of doesn't greet us in the way that they want, they think, oh god, they're rude or something, but it's not. You just got to read the picture a little bit better.
Yeah. It's there's a bigger picture, isn't there, instead of just like you said. Yeah. But yeah, that's really cool. Did you have any? I mean, he doesn't seem like he's a prankster. Did he didn't pull any pranks or anything like that on you when you were staying?
It was good. He was really supportive as well. Obviously, it was my first Paralympics, so, and he'd been to one before and done very well. Not as well as this last one in Tokyo, where he got gold. I think we were just really supportive of each other, and he's a really down-to-earth guy. And it's brilliant to have people like that on the team, and also many other people with experience, Hannah Cockcroft and Discus Dan. It's brilliant to draw all experiences from these guys, and I think that's what you should do when you go to a big first competition. Take as much experience as you can, and then the next one you're better prepared.
I feel like I've had the Avengers on the show, mate. Feel like I've got one of each of the Avengers, like from the team.
Which is your next one?
I don't know. Yeah, I've obviously had Hannah. I've had Broom, and now I've had yourself. So, you know, I've had all of the athletics team pretty much, like the top, you know, the top ones in athletics. So, yeah, I don't know who's next.
You should get another thrower on your podcast, Dan Greaves.
Yeah,
he's actually he runs his podcast as well. He's got an own podcast.
He won't come on mine then. No, that would be good, mate. It would be good to have a chat with more, you know, more like-minded people like yourself. I think it's really interesting. One of the reasons that I love to speak to athletes and para athletes like yourself is because there is always obviously something that you've got to come through to get to where you are, and I think that's so impressive to do that, and I think it's if anything, it just shows that anyone can achieve anything if they put their mind to it, and I think that's a really important message for people and young people as well. So
I mean, I think Paralympics highlights that kind of figure more, but I think, you know, even in sorry, my phone's going off, that's bad. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine, mate. It's fine.
But yeah, every Olympic athlete as well go through, you know, real big struggles. You know, I mean, their bereavements in their family, and they still train. Yeah. You know, I think you know, Olympic and para athletes are on that same level when we train for an event. You know, and I think the same message is brought through on both Olympic and Paralympic. A very strong message as well, you know, to be resilient through hard times.
Yeah, I can't remember the name for the life of me, and it's gonna look really bad. But I remember watching the Olympics, and there was a female rower who had been really successful. But she'd gone away to have her children, and then obviously taken some time off to do that. But she felt that maybe she was too old to come back and compete again. But she had worked so hard to get back to that point. And then I think it was something along the lines of, like, she'd picked up an injury a couple of like 6 months beforehand, and she didn't think that she'd put all this time in, she was going to make it. And then she picked up an injury, and it was like, sort of give or take whether she was going to be able to compete, and she did it. She got there. They didn't get a medal, but the fact that she had gone through all of that to get to that point, I think is amazing as well. You know, that it's it really is awesome, the fact that people, you know, and not everyone can do that, but the fact that there are people out there that can.
So difficult to do. You know, I mean, you know, especially, I mean, these athletes have been training all their lives, you know, for this one point. You know, it's not just necessarily a 4-year cycle for the Olympics. You know, it's from, you know, young teens all the way through. And when things can try and come away from you, you know, at that point, you know, it's very hard to get over, and to be resilient through those times when you're being really, really tested. Yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to stay where you are.
Yeah. So, it was Helen Glover. I've just had a quick look. Yeah, Helen Glover. She was training on 2 hours sleep. She was. Yeah. She'd had her babies, and she was still training and looking after her babies.
What a warrior. A warrior.
And that's just incredible. Like, stories like that, and then they're still able to go to the Olympics and compete like that. And it's just incredible, like the stories that you hear. But yeah.
Incredible.
But yeah, so I found it really interesting when Broom said that he shared a room with you, and that to be. I spoke to Rhys Dunn as well, and he was talking about, obviously it was his first Paralympics, and he was talking about what the feeling when he first walked into the games. What was that like? What was that like for you to finally be there and just have that atmosphere, and to be in the village with all the other athletes as well?
Yeah, I think when I got there, obviously I knew that there wasn't going to be any spectators in the stadium, and so I made a decision before I competed not to visit the stadium, just because I wanted that wow factor to hit me when I started to compete.
Yeah.
So I didn't even look at like pictures of the stadium or anything like that, right? And I was competing at night time, pissing down with rain, right? Like proper English rain, you know what I mean? Like torrential downpours. And there was probably half an inch of water laying on the track when I competed. And so, there's all these things happening around, it's really wet, and like it's cooler than we thought it was going to be. I've done all this sort of acclimatization for weather, sitting in like hot rooms and stuff like this. And then we got there, and on the day of my competition, it's like cold and wet. Anyway, but like I was sitting there, and we were a bit late to go out, and I was sitting there keeping myself warm and everything. And then like we're brought round the back of the stadium, and there's like these like tunnels, like a Roman, what do you call the amphitheater, is it? Yeah, there's like these big arches there, and I sort of look through, and there's all this light coming through, and it's like daylight, there's so many lights in that stadium. You just look into it and you're like, oh my God, what are we about to do? And then we led out there, and you feel so small. There's like seats going up to the night sky, and all these lights shining down at you, and you can see all the rain coming down. It was just like an immense feeling. My heart went from like resting heart rate of 60s up to about 120, just like that,
Yeah.
And it gave me the feeling that I really wanted, and the reason why I didn't look at the stadium before I went out. And I was there. Didn't matter if there was not one person in the stadium, I was pumped. And that third throw, man, just came down and boom.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like I look at it and I think there's not many people that feel how the gladiators used to feel in Rome.
Yeah.
And there is only a few people that get that feeling, and I think that the closest that you get to that is at the Olympics. Like the games is that you get every 4 years. I think is the only time that anyone ever could feel like how they used to feel all of those years ago. When they would fight to the death.
With a spear.
Yeah. How do you think you'd fare with
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. I'm just glad that we're not in them times anymore.
Yeah. I think you'd be all right. I think you could hit a couple of people.
Yeah. I think it's enough to feel like a gladiator. I wouldn't want to be one.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the same with I watch mixed martial arts as well. So I watch UFC, I watch MMA, and that's another one where I feel like they're the only other people that I think I could look at and go, that's the closest to gladiators, because they have all of these thousands of people watching them, and they go into this little cage and they just like fight each other, and I'm like, it's mental. It's absolutely mental.
Yeah. Who's your favourite fighter
in UFC?
Yeah.
Sugar Sean O'Malley at the moment.
Okay.
I like him. I think he's just a bit of a nutter, but he dyes his hair. He's covered in tattoos. I've got loads of tattoos as well, so I don't know. I think he's pretty cool. So, do you watch UFC?
I used to. I think Colin McGregor really kind of caught my attention. When he was like trash talking and all that. Kind of lost. Yeah, I don't really watch it as much now. Yeah. But when I was watching Conor McGregor coming up through the ranks, it was really exciting. He's an incredible fighter. And a bit disappointing in that fight between Aldo.
Yeah,
it was like 10 seconds, 11 seconds.
Yeah, and he broke his leg as well, didn't he? He's in that fight, which was horrific to watch. Like I remember watching that with one of my mates, and we stayed up to watch it, and we were very, very drunk. And when that happened, we were both like, oh, like just didn't know how to react. Like, because obviously they don't shy away from it. They show that sort of stuff. And
in slow-mo as well. Why do they do that to us?
Yeah. Horrible. So yeah, we'll talk about other sports. So is there any sports that you watch that you really enjoy? Are you, into football or anything like that? Or
you know what? I don't watch any other sport really. No. I was never good at any other sport except javelin. Wasn't good at football. Couldn't see the ball coming in. Couldn't see my teammates from the side. Same with rugby. So I would just literally in PE classes at school, I'd just grab the ball, they'd give it to me, and I'd just run and shout. And nobody would go near me. But I don't think that would work on rugby at my age. But no, I'm more of a doer. If I like the look of the sport, I'd do it rather than watching it. I don't really like sit down watching it. Yeah. Obviously, watching the Olympics and Winter Olympics has been great. Yeah. And I watch England play football. It's pretty good. So, but yeah, that's about as far as my sporting goes. I hope they just don't get me on question the sport. That'd be awful. Dan with 0 points.
You can't be good at everything, mate. You can't be good at everything. So, but yeah, it's really interesting actually to hear you say that, because again, that's not the first time I've heard that from someone that is a sporting star, is an athlete, to say actually I just do it. I don't sit and watch sports. I'm too busy doing it, or I'd rather just play it. So I think it's really interesting to hear. So yeah, do you want to go into another song? Should we go for a break?
Yeah, right. So my next one, you asked me for a song that I listened to before a competition. Now this tune is by Breaking Benjamin, Diary of Jane, and this one was like when I was growing up and I aspired to best javelin thrower of all time, Jan Zelezny. Somebody had made a compilation video of him throwing, and this song was played over the top of that. And every time that I listen to this song, I just see Jan Zelezny just slamming down that left leg and just unleashing massive throws. Yeah. So yeah, I always listen to this song before I compete.
Cool. We will be back in a second.
I once flew all the way to Hogwarts to interview Darth Vader. I love Star Trek.
Okay, so we are back in. I did have a question that I was going to ask you. We usually ask everyone that comes on this question, so I feel like it's important that I ask you the question. So if you could have a dinner party and you could invite 4 people of your choosing, anyone alive or dead, who would you invite?
Okay, well, they're all alive.
Yeah.
So I would have, because I'm a big fan of these guys, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant,
yeah,
and Carl Pilkington, the trio.
Yeah.
I just absolutely love them 3. When they're in a room, it just it's comedy gold.
Yeah.
So I would have them 3, and then I would have somebody who's very intelligent and could get some really good conversations going, and that would be David Attenborough. And I think the dynamic of David Attenborough talking to Carl Pilkington would just be it would just be amazing. So
I can see that. I used to love their show, the 3 of them when they did their show together.
The old podcast, Ricky Gervais show, wasn't it?
Yeah, I used to love that. I used to think it was absolutely brilliant.
I used to listen to them on a repeat.
Yeah. They are so funny, and Stephen Merchant is just a legend as well. Ricky Gervais. Afterlife. Have you watched that? Have you had the?
Mate, I've only just got over crying about it. that third season. Oh man, it hit my heart. It's, but yeah, there's so many funny things in it. It's like an emotional roller coaster, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
some of them are really
one of the best series I've seen. Yeah. It's up there with Breaking Bad, I'd say.
Yeah. it is very, very good. I think it's from what happened at the end. I'm not going to ruin it for anyone that hasn't seen it yet, but I kind of feel like maybe that's the last season.
Yeah, I think he's doing exactly how he done on The Office. You know, when Ricky Gervais, made The Office, and kind of leaves you wanting more. But I don't think he's going to do it, because obviously that's what makes a great series. If he made another one and it was kind of okay, then it would lower the whole of the rest of the series. So I think he's done the right thing. He's left with a fantastic message, and I love it. Oh, and Derek as well. If anybody's not watched Derek, Ricky Gervais plays that. He directs it as well, and it's just so good.
He's such a talented bloke, isn't he? He's so good, really, and his stand-up's incredible as well. I love watching his stand-up. He's really good with his stand-up comedy. So, absolutely.
Have you seen it like on Instagram and stuff, where he puts these pictures of him in the bath? He sits there with a double chin, like just like horrendous, just to take the mick out of our society and how we all look so fantastic in social media and things like this. He just like wants to make himself look as unattractive as possible.
He's he's an absolute legend. He's so funny. I mean, we are on to our final section, Dan, and you know what that means. It's quickfire time.
Ready. Let's do this. Quickfire out.
It's quickfire round. So because you've tuned in and you've heard it. Hannah is currently on 15. JBE is on 14. So the stakes are high, mate. The stakes are high. You've got to get 16.
I'm not very competitive, as you can see.
So I will get the timer set up. Right. And I will take JBE's advice, and I will try and be quicker with my asking of the questions. Okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. I'm nervous now. You've got me nervous. I feel like it's all on me. This isn't how the game should be played. All right. Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Favorite sport?
Javelin.
Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram?
Twitter.
Favorite singer?
Ed Sheeran.
Favorite film?
T-50 seconds.
Into the Wild.
Favorite song?
Hit That.
Sweets or chocolate?
Sweets.
Favorite superhero?
Seconds.
Thor.
Favorite holiday destination?
Sardinia.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Favorite colour?
Blue.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Oh my god. Night in or night out?
Not in.
What was your first job?
20 seconds.
Receptionist.
Do you have a hidden talent?
I can roll my stomach.
Mode of transport?
10, 9,
Bike.
8,
Biggest crush growing up?
6, 5,
Biggest what?
4,
Biggest crush growing up?
Jessica Alba.
1.
Takeaway of your choosing?
Indian.
Oh my god, that's it. That's it.
I reckon this is going to be good. It's got to be.
I think you look good, mate, here. So, all right, let me see.
I think maybe I've taken this really too seriously.
Are you ready? So, 1, 2, 3. Oh. You have scored. Drum roll, please. 17.
Yay!
He's top of the leaderboard, ladies and gentlemen. He's top of the leaderboard.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely smashed it. And I felt that was good. As soon as we got past about, I think we were about 8. And I looked at the clock and there was still like 28 seconds left. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, you're going to smash this. And then, it just kept going. JBE's not going to be happy about that, because his response will be, you read them quicker for him.
He's going to blame you.
Yeah. He'll be saying to me, you read them quicker for him than you did for me. So he'll demand.
He's quite pressed about it, so he didn't. You see, so you know what I mean. It's all about how you play it.
Brilliant, Dan. Well, I will get that onto the top of the leaderboard, mate, and I will be sure to send that directly to JBE.
I'm sure he'll be very pleased.
And the rest of the team as well. I'll share it with the rest of them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, mate, it's been brilliant to have you on. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
I've enjoyed it. It's been great, Tom. Thanks.
And yeah, hopefully we can have you back on soon.
That'd be awesome.
Just on a final note, what's coming up for you now, mate? What have you got planned?
So I will be joining Hannah Cockcroft over in Dubai. We got the World Paralympics Grand Prix, the first of the year. So I'll be doing my season opener out there. I'm feeling pretty good for it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to launch a big throw out. And then, obviously, unfortunately, as I think Hannah and JB have already said, that our World Athletics Championships have been cancelled, which is a bit of a bummer this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going into the able-bodied British Champs. So
Wow.
I'm going to try and do my best there, and let's hope that a para-athlete can bring home a medal at the British Champs. Hopefully, I think it will be the first time.
Yeah, mate, that'll be incredible, and what a story that is as well. That's
Yeah.
that's
So we'll have to
brilliant.
think about that one on the next podcast.
Yeah, well, I didn't even like. I wish we'd have had more time, because I'd have really liked to delve into that. But I think, you know, with most of the people that come on the show, I never even get a chance to scratch the surface. Like, there's so much more that we can talk about that we don't get around to. So, absolutely, love to have you back on, mate, and we can talk about it then. And then hopefully you'll have the outcome of that as well. You'll know what's happened by that point. So it'll be an even bigger story.
Hopefully, talking to my future self. Well done.
So yeah, we're going to end on your final song. So what did you pick for your final song?
Well, you asked me for a party song. I'm not really much of a party goer, but I would say a song that gets me kind of hyped and really feeling good is Sam Fender and Hypersonic Missiles. It's a tune, and when that sax comes in, it's just like bang on.
What an absolute tune that is to end the show. So Dan, thank you so much for that, mate. And yeah, hopefully we will speak to you again very, very soon.
Fantastic. Cheers, Tom.
I once interviewed Madonna. I was a virgin, and she touched me for the very first time. Oh my God, that was a great interview.